Howdy friends, I'm doing something different today and I am responding to Reddit posts. I will say most of these will be helpful, but it's like one or two that I just put in there for entertainment purposes. Without further ado, here is the first one. Hey everyone, I'm newly vegan, about 3 weeks in, and I just realized that I accidentally ate chocolate that has milk in it without knowing. I feel so terrible, like I've completely messed up. I'm such a perfectionist, so this mistake is really weighing on me. Have any of you slipped up in the beginning of your vegan journey? How did you move past it? I'm literally beating myself up over this. If you're beating yourself up about something that's not actually doing any good, that's just kicking somebody that's already down, imagine that there is a person who just got beat up on the side of the road and there is somebody standing over them kicking them, or that same person could go over and lend a hand and help that person up. We would want everyone to lend a hand and help that person up. So in this scenario, you beating yourself up, you are that person that is literally being kicked while you're down on the side of the road, and you want somebody to come through and help you up, not kick you more. So you can be that for yourself. That's not the topic of this video, but it is possible to do that. Not beating yourself up is a very, very important skill to try to learn, especially in veganism, because mistakes happen. Veganism is less of a diet and more of a lifestyle. Veganism or not, we can have the best of intentions and still make mistakes. So part 2 of my answer is that as long as you're vegan, mistakes and accidents are going to happen. It's just part of it. I've been vegan going on 6 years now, and I've still slipped up from time to time. It's not a slip up in the sense of, oh, this has milk in it, well, okay, like I'll just eat it anyways. It's not that. It's things that, like the user that commented this, is like they said, I didn't know something had milk in it, or I didn't realize something had milk in it, and I had it. Well, I, 5 years into this, bought something with milk in it because it was something that was coconut milk based, so I didn't think it would actually have milk in it, you know, for allergy reasons, and it did. So just know that mistakes happen, accidents happen, and regardless of how long you've been vegan, this can still happen. The sooner you can practice compassion and grace for yourself through this process, the better off you're gonna be long term. Oh, to the point where this person asked, how do you move past it? The time's gonna pass regardless. This has actually been one of my favorite, I guess almost mantras for myself, is the time will pass regardless, but we have a choice in how we behave during the time passing, and we have a choice in our response to the time passing. So you can literally look at it and be like, you are a piece of crap for making a mistake, or you can be like, oops, well, I won't tomorrow. You know, it is really that simple. I've said this in other videos before, and I've said this probably a million times to people. We don't shame toddlers for not knowing how to use forks properly, so why would we shame ourselves for something that we don't know how to do? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Okay, this one, I'm not gonna read the entire thing because it's kind of long. I will put it on the screen and I'll just address some of the questions that are within the post. So they're asking, what were the first steps in becoming vegan? Did you do it all at once or step by step? What vitamins or supplements do you take, if any? This, obviously, this person is not asking me. This person is just asking Reddit, but you know, I figured I'd share my 2 cents because that's why I have this channel. What are your favorite substitutes and any other tidbits or useful information? Oh, never mind. The easiest one I'll address, vitamins and supplements. There are certain plant-based foods that if you incorporate enough of those into your diet, you don't have to supplement anything. Literally even B12, which is like the internet's biggest thing to be like, wow, where do you get your B12? Nooch. You can get it from Nooch. I need to restock, I'm almost out. Tablespoon of this a day will keep the doctor away. I'm just kidding, but really. 1 tablespoon has 300% of your daily recommendation for vitamin B12. This is like a cheesy, it looks kind of like fish food, not gonna lie, but it doesn't taste like fish food. It's really good on fish. No, not on fish, that wrong channel. If the focus is being really weird on my camera, sorry, I don't know what's going on with it. If you have a well-rounded diet, and I mean like in the sense that you're hitting all of your macronutrients for the day, you're getting enough calories, you're eating varied amounts of food, like you're eating beans and lentils and greens and grains and things like that, you're not gonna have to supplement anything. But if you want to, then there is nothing wrong with that as well, especially in the transition period. I know when I was transitioning to veganism and a plant-based diet, I definitely did supplement with a multivitamin every day just in case, because I was really worried about not getting everything that I would need. So I supplemented. If you do want to supplement something, or if there is something that you know that you're low in, like for example, if you just naturally have low iron, you can either eat a lot of beans or you can eat beans and take a supplement. It's up to you. There is no right or wrong answer. It really is just contextual based on the person. And the going vegan part as well, personally, I transitioned. It took me probably close to a year to officially fully make the transition of going vegan. Also, I have a full video on this, but I'll just kind of give a brief backstory here. Long story short, this is how I did it. First, I started transitioning out things that I could easily change. Like I made the switch to non-dairy coffee creamers, non-dairy milk, and things like that. And then I did lifestyle things. So I stopped any skincare products, any hair care products, like cleaning supplies, clothes, all that kind of stuff, household items. If I knew that it wasn't vegan, I didn't buy it. And if I didn't know, I would try to look it up, or I would just buy from all vegan brands, which is what I tend to do now as well. First, I cut out anything that comes from a cow, and then I cut out anything that comes from a pig, and then it was seafood, and then chicken was last. And I did have an aha moment that made me go vegan, but I was taking steps in the process. So I cut out all dairy or mostly I guess just cheese and chicken on the same day overnight. Favorite substitutes for stuff. My favorite substitutes as far as mock meats and stuff go, the Guardian Ultimate brand is by far my favorite that I've had. It's not the most health conscious one, but it is the tastiest one in my opinion. And if you are looking for something that's more health conscious, then TVP or textured vegetable protein for beef crumbles or ground beef texture, or Butler's soy curls for steak or chicken and things like that. As far as cheeses go, I haven't really found my favorite substitute. I haven't had many in recent years, I'll say. I haven't had many that I don't like, so I don't really have a recommendation as far as cheese goes. My cat just knocked a box off the table. Don't mind him. Okay, this next one is weird question, but I've been seeing a lot of posts about how most cranberry bogs use tons of spiders in the growing cranberries as a pesticide alternative. Does anyone know if the practices align with veganism? They put the spiders there themselves, and there's no way they can harvest them without harming them, right? Just curious, as I am genuinely unsure on how that works and can't find the answer to this question. My answer to this, people may or may not agree with me, I think most people will agree with me, is sometimes it ain't that deep, because stuff like that you cannot verify for the most part. If we are thinking about things like that, then we're eliminating almost everything from our diet. If we think about stuff like that, then we also have to think about the fact that the plants that are grown and the forests that are torn apart basically to plant crops for us to eat, that's killing animals too. So there has to be a line somewhere, and if that is something that bothers you, that they use spiders as pesticides, then by all means, it can bother you. Grow your own food. That way you know where it comes from. That's fine. But I think that is a very unrealistic expectation to put on others as far as veganism goes. Short answer, it's not that deep. I actually had a lot of fun reading the comments on this one. I will say also the comments were very polarizing, I think is the best word to use on this. My dad put gelatin in my birthday cake. My dad has been learning how to bake cakes for the past week, and he's very interested in it. He even wants to make my birthday cake for tomorrow. About an hour ago, he told me that he used gelatin in the cake and found it fun to work with. The problem is, gelatin usually contains pork, right? I'm not comfortable eating it, but I don't want to ruin all the effort he's put in. I don't think he knows gelatin isn't vegan, but my mom does, so she could have mentioned it to him. Yet she hasn't said anything. What should I do? That is sticky and tricky. I completely get feeling uncomfortable about that. Short answer is, when you close your eyes at night, what feels better? I just had a really big yawn. I'm not crying. One thing I want to say is this situation is going to suck no matter how you decide to handle it. You're going to feel bad about telling your dad no, but you're also going to feel bad if you just say, oh great, this isn't vegan, but I'll eat it anyways. And yeah, my initial reaction is that if your dad is kind enough to make you a cake for your birthday and he's genuinely excited about it, then he's going to take the conversation okay if you have to be like, hey dad, I really appreciate it, but just so you know, gelatin's not vegan. This is something that you can use instead, and I'd be happy that we can do this thing together, and it can end up being more fun. That way you're not just like, you made my cake wrong, you made it not vegan, I would really appreciate it if you made it vegan. It can instead be something that you do together, and it can be some sort of fun birthday celebration that you do together, so you can make it more than what it just originally was. So I think that would be like the best case scenario for this situation. Now you could have a dad that sucks and is like, everything I do for you, you don't appreciate, but hopefully not. I don't think so, because dads like that typically don't actually like make birthday cakes for their kids themselves. So there's that. I loved this one. I loved reading the comments on this one. And again, this one was very polarizing. Title says, would you go to an office Christmas lunch that doesn't have any vegan options? Basically, this person's Christmas party for work is at a non-vegan restaurant, and a non-vegan friendly restaurant, that is. This person works remote, so they never see their coworkers, so they want to go, but at the same time, if they can't have anything to eat, then what's the point? And it's like at a restaurant. And it's like a Christmas lunch kind of thing. They said, I'm afraid if I don't go, my boss might tell people that I'm not there because they don't have vegan options, and my coworkers will think vegan equals antisocial. I could also pretend I'm meeting with a client on the day of the lunch and say that's why I'm not going. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I'm just not sure what to do. If you were to decide not to do this thing because there aren't any options for you to eat, people are going to think whatever they want to think. They're going to come to their own conclusions about why you didn't want to do this thing. If you decide not to go, you're deciding not to go because there's nothing to eat. Whatever conclusions other people draw from that, it's not really your business. You said in the post yourself, you work remotely, you don't ever see them, so truthfully, what do they really matter? Now, I know sometimes it's not that black and white, but that is just an example. Another simple solution is eat before you go. Or you can also bring something to supplement something that the restaurant has. So if they have, for example, a salad, you could bring soy curls that are soaked in vegan chicken broth to act like chicken that you can put on your salad. You know, all kinds of stuff that you can make at home and then bring in. And usually restaurants don't really mind. And this also, I will say this is easier if you carry a purse, because I just put stuff in my purse and then take it out at the restaurant. If you don't carry a purse, it might look kind of weird, but just put it in like a little bag and stick it in your pocket. If you're a dude, you've got pockets, so. There were people also saying just don't go, and I mean, that's your prerogative. There were people that were like, if they can't respect you enough to make sure that you go to a restaurant with things you can eat, then you don't need to be part of their lives or something like that. And sure, but I approach it from the mindset of other people's world doesn't have to revolve around me. And if they are planning something for a group of people and don't think about the fact that one of them might not have a whole lot to eat, like, I don't take that personally because they had a lot of other things to think about. Hopefully that makes sense. Sometimes it just ain't that deep. If you choose not to go for moral reasons, or I know there are some people that are really uncomfortable sitting at a table where other people are eating animal products, and that's totally fine too. If that is a boundary that you have, then don't go. You can lie and just say you have something else going on, or, I mean, if you want to, you can tell the truth and just say, hey, there's nothing I can eat. I don't really want to. For the sake of it being work, if you don't want to go, just lie. I love how in my last video I was like, I don't lie, I'm a truther, but like, you know, it doesn't hurt sometimes. Ooh, this one I wanted to put in just for tea's sake because I read it this morning and I was like, what? Long story short, this person was listening to a vegan podcaster. The podcaster took an ad for something called Butcher Box, which is probably exactly what it sounds like. That's wild. Remember in my 2025 content strategy video where I was like, yeah, I'm not a sellout, like that's not me, and that's the direction I was going. I would never go this far, but like, cause that's wild. But yeah, that is what the climate of working in social media, that's what it has created, and it's insane to me, and it's not something that I want to fall into. So there's that. Here's another good one. How do you respond to people saying, I like eggs, milk, and meat too much to go vegan and such, without justifying it for them? Basically, this person is asking how you approach the situation when somebody says, I like XYZ way too much to go vegan, like the but cheese people. It really depends on who I'm talking to, but when somebody says this to me, sorry, I just yawned, I'm not crying. I usually say either, yeah, I've been there. And I just kind of leave it at that. It's kind of cryptic and weird. Or I say, yeah, I thought that too, until like one day I just didn't see those things as edible anymore. And sometimes they're like, what? You know, and then you can explain. Or if it's somebody I don't know and it's not even a conversation, it's just like a comment in passing, I'm just like, okay. I also, another one that I almost forgot to say is anything that I used to eat before I was vegan, I can eat now that I'm vegan. I just eat the version without animals in it, or without animals involved in it. And usually people are like, oh, that's really cool. So that's been the most like positive approach to the situation. Those approaches also aren't like kind of preachy, I almost want to say. And I know that is kind of a hot topic in the realm of, well, veganism and on my channel, because I've been called a pick-me a million times for not being preachy, but you know, whatever. Yeah, I am of the boat that I don't think you can change somebody's mind by actively shaming them and telling them everything that they're doing wrong. I think you should lead by example. This is not a blanket statement. I know there are caveats to everything, but this is just my opinion. Let me just throw that out there. I think shaming people works far less than leading by example. So if somebody is saying this to you and you're like, that's stupid, you're stupid, you should stop eating that because of XYZ reason, then probably not going to get very far. You're probably just going to argue with the person and they're not going to hear you out. In the same vein, I'm going to go on this next one. It's a nice little transition, kind of the same topic. Why doesn't anyone listen? I've been vegan for 3 years and I don't know any other vegans or vegetarians or anything. Everyone I know eats meat. Mostly same. I have a vegan friend that I've been friends with online for, what year is it? 2025? Going on 4 years now, and we just met in person last month, so I get it. Why won't people go vegan? Why don't people care when I'm begging them to? Red flag number 1. I try to show how easy and delicious plant-based cooking is. I know pretty much all of the talking points and can have a calm conversation about it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'd convinced 2 strangers to go vegan after talking with them on TikTok. Why won't my friends and family do the same? First of all, let me interject here and just say you don't know for sure that they actually went vegan. While I would use that as a point of optimism and hope, I wouldn't bank on that to, translate into real life. How do I even console myself when my loved ones don't even love other beings enough to stop eating them? How can my friends and family claim to love me and my veganism and understand and respect my beliefs, but still participate in the cruelty? What aren't they getting? As soon as I did my own grocery shopping, I was finally able to go vegetarian, and once I learned about the dairy and egg industry, I went vegan. It's always been so simple to me. How do people not care? This one's tough because I get it. I get why you want people to, but it sounds to me like this person has taken the preachy approach, like they have begging people. Well, they literally said they're begging people to care more. They're begging people to do more. Begging people to care more, or begging people to eat animals. My cat looks like my microphone. I am simplifying this, and I'm not using this as a comparison to sound insensitive. I'm just using it as a comparison to kind of paint a picture. People have been saying, you have to go see Wicked. I love Wicked. It was so good. I went to see it 3 times. Please go watch Wicked. I'm not going to watch Wicked. I don't like musicals, so I'm not going to watch Wicked. Any amount that a person begs me to go watch Wicked, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go spend my money to sit in a dark room and watch a musical for however 2 hours or whatever. I'm not doing it because I don't want to. Even just because somebody's begging me to, I'm not doing it. So that, I know it simplifies it way too much, but think about that in the aspect of somebody going vegan. If they don't want to, no amount of begging is going to make them. And this person did mention that they do show them that plant-based and vegan food is delicious and amazing. That's fantastic. And it's probably eventually going to start paying off. If they are open to more plant-based and vegan food, sometimes that can be the best thing we can hope for, because progress is progress regardless of if it's not as much as we would like or not. I also want to point out that this person said they went vegetarian when they could buy their own groceries, and then they went vegan when they learned about the dairy industry. To that point, you came to it, look at me, to that point, you came to it on your own time and on your own, not agenda, that's not the right word, but you came to it on your own time and in your own time and in your own way. And that's how it has to happen for most people. They have to come to it on their own. Also, some people never do. Some people will never. If your entire family is non-vegan and they have no desire to change, they may never change. And sometimes that's gonna just have to be something that you deal with internally. You can choose to love them as they are, or you can choose to put some distance there and maybe not be around them at meal times, or maybe only, maybe put some boundaries there if it makes you uncomfortable, or, whatever. You'd have to come to the conclusion that sometimes people don't ever go vegan, and you can choose to love them anyways, or you can choose to set boundaries there and put some distance there and then get more vegan people in your life. It really just becomes a values thing there. Like, would you rather have them in your life peacefully, or would you rather have more vegan friends and family? Because you can choose your family, I think. How do I console myself when my loved ones don't even love other beings enough to stop eating them? You don't have to. You can just be miserable about it, but how's that working out for you? That sounded very harsh and very dry, and I kind of mean it like that. But really though, like, you can choose not to be able to console yourself around things you can't control. But that's a fast track to being completely miserable. If you want to have any semblance of a stable mental health, you have to put distance between caring so much about what other people are doing. You have to put distance there if you are able to function properly. If you mentally want to be able to function fairly well, or even moderately okay, you have to put distance between what other people are doing and how it affects you mentally. The thing that helped me is basically just realizing that I can't control other people, and instead I focus on more things that I can control. Obviously there's a boundary there too, because you don't want to control so many things in your life that you spiral out of control when there is something you can't control, but that's not a topic for this channel. The harsh truth is that you have to find mental separation, or you're going to be miserable. There is no way to not have mental separation and not be miserable based on other people's decisions, because if they don't ever change, you're going to be miserable forever, and that's not a way to live life. You can fight the good fight all you want, but if your entire life is fighting the good fight without having any kind of peace, then any health benefits you would get from being vegan are going to be counteracted by the amount of stress you're under, and then you're going to die at 60. So that was kind of harsh, but stress is a killer. Okay, I'm not going to fully read the last one that I have. This person's saying that they think it's unethical to own pets, and then they said that led them to wanting to be vegan. Don't know how those dots connect, but I'm not mad about it if they want to be vegan. Which kind of leads me into the thought spiral that I just want to ask what all of you think. I've seen some discourse online lately that, like, service dogs and like training animals, I've read that some people think it's unethical and some people think that it's wrong. I think there's a line here because, and this is me sharing my opinion, I recognize there are things that I might not know about everything. I don't know everything. If I say something that is ill-informed, by all means, like, I'm open to learning, but this is just from what I know about stuff. I think there's a big distinction between circus training animals and things like that, and having like wild animals and taking them from their natural habitats for like humans' entertainment. That is completely different than like training your dog and owning a pet. And also, this is going to be really jumbled. Also, to piggyback on the point of this person doesn't think having pets is ethical, the alternative at this point, realistically, is going to be if everyone stops owning pets or stops getting pets that are in shelters or at rescues or, running around on the side of the street, either those animals are all going to die because they can't be, they're overcrowding the shelters, and any stray dog is going to have to go to the shelter. If the shelter doesn't have room, what do? So that, I think there are some holes in that logic of just saying that people shouldn't own pets and things like that. So like, what's the alternative? They die. I think there's a fine line there. I think sometimes, and for some people, owning pets might not be ethical, but I don't think that's the case for everybody. All of my animals were literally rescued, and it would have been more unethical for me to leave them where I found them than to not pick them up. So and I know that's probably the case for a lot of people. But also, the discourse about service animals and training and things like that, I think it depends. There probably are methods of training that are unethical, on the unethical side. And believe it or not, I don't think that e-collar training is unethical if you use it properly and if you are properly trained to use it and if you do it the right way. Like all things, it can be abused and it can be misused, but I think generally e-collar training is, if you do it right and if you are taught by a professional, I don't think it is unethical, because you can use it without harming the dog and without shocking the dog. And it depends on the dog too. Like I don't think every dog should be e-collar trained, and I don't think every dog should be okay with e-collar training. I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah, like service dogs and things like that. So I think there are ways that can be unethical for training, but I think generally having a service dog, again, I don't know everything about service dogs. I don't know everything about the training process or anything like that. To have a life-saving service dog, if the training is not harmful, like scent training, for example, it's not harmful to dogs. Like scent training is, especially, there are dogs that are working breeds. My dog is a working breed dog. She is a cattle dog, which ironically for me means that her breed has typically been used by farmers to herd cattle to get them to where they want to go. Now that I have my dog, if I don't give her a job to do that's something like that, she's gonna drive me bananas, because she biologically has such high energy levels that she has to do something, or else she's gonna bark and be miserable and not have any kind of positive quality of life. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so with that, we do some kind of training. And with other dogs that are like, like German Shepherds or like more police dogs kind of things, those dogs with the scent training or like medical alert dogs, I don't even think any of that uses like e-collar or shock collar kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure you just have the scent, and when they alert to when they smell the scent, you reward them. I'm pretty sure it's just a reward system. So I don't see how that could be unethical. If you know anything about dogs, working breeds need a job to have any kind of quality of life and not be completely miserable. Dogs don't want to be couch potatoes. Well, some of them do, but most dogs don't want to be couch potatoes. Most dogs don't want to just lay around and do nothing. A lot of dogs like having things to do, so I don't think that it is unethical to have service dogs. What's the alternative? Dying? I am gonna rant though, because it's kind of fitting, and it really, really annoyed me. There was this girl, when I lived in Florence, there was this girl that brought her dog, I think it was a doodle, of course. Sorry if you have a doodle, but I'm biased. There was a girl that had a medical dog. I can't remember what her issue was, but I think it was something with her heart. I didn't ask, by the way. This girl would bring her service dog to the dog park, which, okay. And then she also bred the dog and sold the puppies. Nothing infuriates me more than backyard breeders and profiting off of another animal having babies. That's just weird to me. And the fact that she did this with her service dog made it even worse. Actually, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, because I feel irritated by it. And I think that's so irresponsible and disgusting. And why would you do that to your dog? And how can your dog properly do its job as a service dog if it's A, pregnant, and B, like having puppies or like caring for puppies, or if you're breeding it? Because she didn't just breed it once, she bred it multiple times. So like, how can you actually benefit, or how can you actually properly use or utilize your service dog if it's having to perform a different service for you that's not the medical one that you need it for? Like, that's crazy. Oh, I'm so glad I don't have to ever see that woman again. That made me so mad when I found out about that. Oh yeah, I would get so mad when she would be at the dog park. And also, before people comment about how terrible dog parks are, I know we don't go anymore, but this was when my dog was a puppy and I wanted her to have some socialization, and the dog park we went to never had more than like 3 dogs there, so it was fine. But we don't go anymore because it's just too busy where we live now. I've been yapping long enough. I think that's about it. So for the people that are like newer to veganism, or if by chance one of the people that like asked these things on Reddit, if you by chance stumble upon this video, other people, please leave comments for this person, because, or just, yeah, for this person, because let's be real here, we aren't that special to only are for our problems to only apply to us. You know what I mean? A vegan related problem is going to be a problem for somebody else as well at some point. Maybe not that specifically, but just in general. If there's anything in this video that you liked or that you want me to talk more about in the future, definitely let me know. Of course, I'm always open to suggestions. I'm always open to feedback on, you know, my videos or what you want to see from me. If you hated this and never want me to do it again, also let me know that too. Truthfully, this wasn't what I planned on filming today or this week, but my schedule for my real life was like, apparently no. So I didn't get to do what I planned on doing this week because I'm not gonna have time to edit it before Friday. And also we're having a winter storm on Friday, which means we're probably just getting a couple inches of snow, max, and people are freaking out about it. Yeah. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Go take a lizard bath, go lay in the sun. The sun's actually out here, but it's only like 30 degrees outside. So I'm not going outside anymore unless I have to. So thank you, have a great one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Next Friday at 4 o'clock, don't forget. It's probably gonna be Maddie Matheson's cheeseburger soup next Friday. That was what I was gonna post this week, but life said no. Okay, thanks, bye.